For centuries, one name has haunted the imagination of historians: Alexandria, a city where scholars traveled from across the ancient world, searching for knowledge. At its heart stood one of antiquity's most famous institutions, the Library of Alexandria. It was said to contain an enormous collection of ancient writings, works of philosophy, science, medicine, mathematics, astronomy, and literature. Then, somewhere in the chaos of history, much of that knowledge disappeared. But here's where the story becomes complicated. The famous tale says the library was destroyed in a single catastrophic fire, but historians today are not so certain. There may never have been one single moment when the entire library vanished. Instead, its disappearance may have happened slowly, through war, political change, neglect, and the gradual decline of the institution itself. So what really happened, and how much of the legendary Library of Alexandria actually survived? Tonight, we travel back more than 2,000 years to uncover the truth behind history's greatest lost library. Alexandria was founded by Alexander the Great in 331 BC. After his death, the city became one of the most important centers of the ancient Mediterranean world. Under the Ptolemaic dynasty, Alexandria grew into a major center of commerce, culture, and intellectual life. The rulers of Egypt wanted the city to become a place where knowledge from across the known world could be collected. Scholars were invited to Alexandria, texts were gathered, and ideas from different cultures were brought together. The library was connected with a larger scholarly institution known as the Maosion. It was not simply a room filled with books. It was part of an intellectual community where scholars could study, write, teach, and debate. For the ancient world, this was revolutionary. The Library of Alexandria has become legendary. Some ancient accounts describe an enormous collection of scrolls, but the exact number is impossible to establish. Ancient sources give different figures, and historians continue to debate what those numbers actually represented. What we do know is that the library was designed to collect a vast range of written knowledge: philosophy, poetry, mathematics, medicine, astronomy, history, and countless other subjects. Imagine walking through the intellectual world of ancient Alexandria, surrounded by thousands of handwritten scrolls. Every scroll represented knowledge that had required enormous effort to create, and every lost scroll could mean the disappearance of an idea forever. Then comes the most famous part of the story: the fire. According to popular legend, Julius Caesar's forces accidentally set fire to the Library of Alexandria in 48 BC. During Caesar's conflict in Alexandria, ships in the harbor were burned. Ancient sources suggest that the resulting fire may have spread into parts of the city. But did it destroy the entire library? There is no solid evidence proving that, and this is where the popular story begins to fall apart. The library may have suffered damage. Some collections may have been lost, but the institution appears to have survived for some time afterward. So the idea of one enormous fire destroying every book in Alexandria is probably far too simple. Instead, the decline may have happened over centuries. Alexandria experienced political upheaval, wars, religious conflict, and major changes in the Roman world. Institutions that once received royal support could lose their funding. Scholarly communities could shrink. Buildings could be damaged, abandoned, or repurposed. And manuscripts were fragile. Unlike modern books, ancient scrolls had to be copied by hand. Without people maintaining and reproducing them, texts could simply disappear. This means the Library of Alexandria may not have died in one dramatic moment. It may have faded, piece by piece, generation after generation. And that possibility makes the story even more haunting. The ancient world produced extraordinary thinkers. Mathematicians calculated the size of the earth. Astronomers mapped the heavens. Physicians studied the human body. Engineers designed machines. Philosophers debated the nature of reality. Much of this knowledge survived through later copies, but much more was undoubtedly lost. We do not know exactly how many works disappeared from Alexandria, and we cannot assume every lost work was stored there. But the broader truth is undeniable. Ancient civilization produced countless texts that no longer exist. Some vanished because manuscripts were destroyed. Others simply stopped being copied. And once the final copy disappeared, the knowledge disappeared with it. That is the real tragedy of Alexandria. Not one fire, but the irreversible loss of human memory. So, who destroyed the Library of Alexandria? The answer may be more complicated than the legend suggests. There is no reliable evidence that a single person, or a single event, destroyed the entire library. Instead, its decline was probably connected to a long series of historical changes, wars, political instability, changing institutions, economic pressures, and the gradual disappearance of the scholarly environment that had allowed the library to flourish. The famous image of one massive fire, turning all of humanity's knowledge into ashes, makes for a powerful story. But history is rarely that simple. The real mystery is not exactly how one library burned. It is how so much ancient knowledge could disappear over thousands of years. Today, almost nothing remains of the original Library of Alexandria, but its legacy survives. Every ancient manuscript discovered, every forgotten text reconstructed, and every archaeological discovery reminds us of how much humanity once knew, and how much we may never recover. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson of Alexandria. Civilizations disappear, buildings collapse, and knowledge can vanish, unless someone chooses to preserve it. What do you think? Was the Library of Alexandria destroyed by a single catastrophe? Or did it disappear slowly over centuries? Tell us what you believe in the comments. And if you enjoy ancient mysteries, lost civilizations, and the forgotten stories of human history, subscribe to the Hidden Epoch, because history still has secrets waiting to be uncovered.